Check out her weekly Notre Dame podcast, The Echoes, with Mike Golick.
Echoes.
Jr. Hold on.
This is not an echo chamber.
And you will hear her as well on Zaslow's Show 2.0 because she's going to be showing around Zaslow, the Notre Dame campus. This is her new thing at Meadowlark Media, to just show our employees around Notre Dame. She did it with Lucy. What tips do you have for Zaslow before you guys head to Notre Dame here this weekend?
Well, apparently there's like a lot of media coming to this little USC Notre Dame game. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this rivalry, but it's been around for 100 years. And apparently the weather's going to be a little sloppy on Saturdays, as you will likely have a bit of a wet tour around campus. But I do recommend walking around the quads and just letting it all soak in, like me and Lucy did a couple weeks ago.
What's the deal around Touchdown Jesus? Like I was in Europe this past week, and I go to see the Mona Lisa, and there's a huge crowd of people around it. Like, if I go to Touchdown Jesus...
You were unimpressed by the Mona Lisa.
Very small, all right? Very small. Is Touchdown Jesus all it's cracked up to be?
The difference between the Mona Lisa and Touchdown Jesus is about 5,000 square feet. So there's not much of a crowd around it because you can see it from farther away. Whereas when you're at the Louvre and you're in that little Mona Lisa room, Zaz, you know this. You got to go all the way up. You're like, where is it? I can't see. There's too many people in front of me. And then you see it and you're like, oh, there it is. And it's, it's like a little guy. So it's quite different, I would say.
All right, so I'll be able to go right up to that to homeboy Touchdown Jesus and,
if you get too close, you won't be able to see it. Because then you'll be like craning your neck up.
Okay.
Are you excited about this, Zaslow? Are you excited about going to South Bend for the first time?
Yeah, I went last year too. I didn't get to see everything on campus, but I went last year too. I think South Bend's got some cool places to hang out. I'm not doing a show tomorrow night actually, so I get to actually. I'm gonna booze it up. So I'm pretty excited about tomorrow night actually before the show.
Jessica, can you explain to Zaslow what he's in for? Like, do you believe it to be a unique experience among all college football experiences?
I would say yes and no. Like it's a lot like a lot of other really beautiful college campuses. It's unique in how small it is. I think a lot of people are surprised by that. And some of the landmarks on campus are pretty unique. But no, I think it's going to be a great college football atmosphere. And I do think, Zaz, you're in for a bit of a hostile environment because as of the recording of this, there's still no announcement on if this rivalry will continue past this game. So we are kind of operating under the assumption that this may be the last Notre Dame USC game ever. And I think the fans are very upset about that right now.
What is the back and forth like? Like tailgating all day 'cause it's a night game. USC fans, Notre Dame fans, like will they be nasty with each other?
I don't think they'll be nasty. Maybe some. Obviously, there's always like outlier crazy people, but I've never been at a Notre Dame tailgate where people were nasty to anyone. And like that goes for most college football games. I feel like most home crowds, I think, are pretty welcoming of visitors. And like, a lot of Notre Dame people have LA friends and vice versa. So I don't think it's going to be like people are going to be like fist fighting each other in the parking lot. But I do think it's going to be a little rowdy, probably a little rowdier than the Boise State crowd that Lucy and I were in town for, which was like a warm October day, a little lazy vibe out there. I think this is going to be a lot more charged.
And Jess, this is a massive game for Notre Dame. This is probably the last. We'll see what kind of twists and turns the season takes, but this is on your schedule. The real last chance to impress a committee, and if you run the table, you should make the CFP. Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, definitely. Pitt all of a sudden is playing a lot better with their new quarterback. So Notre Dame travels to Pittsburgh next month. Maybe they could be ranked. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, this is certainly would be a great boost on the Notre Dame resume because, like you said, they play Boston College, who I believe, Mike, check me on this. I think UConn is a favorite against Boston College this weekend.
Couldn't believe that.
Boston College on like a multi-game skid. They have just been really bad the last few weeks. So Notre Dame goes to Boston College. They play Navy and Syracuse without Steve Angeli. So Stanford to end the season. So yeah, there's not a ton of opportunities for ranked wins in there, which is why they probably should have beaten Texas A&M at home. You probably shouldn't have lost by 1 point, and you probably should have stopped them on 4th and 11. But if they do win this game against USC, I think that would be a huge help.
I'm sorry, Dan. Is this a 1 year where not being in a conference really hurts you? Because that's the conference championship would certainly solidify that. I don't know if you're nervous at all about not making the CFP because you don't have one, but I've heard a lot of experts weigh in like this is the one time where their independence may haunt them a little bit.
I don't think any Notre Dame fan, if Notre Dame goes like say 9-3 and is on the playoff bubble and misses it, I don't think any Notre Dame fan alive would be like, man, I wish we were in the Big Ten this season. And so no, I think they should have just beaten Texas A&M at home, honestly, and they should beat USC at home if they want to make the playoff. Like win the games. That's really what it comes down to.
I don't know that there's ever been a video that I can play for Jessica that is more in her wheelhouse than that Pope video from earlier in the show. Let's play that for Jessica because this is genuinely and generally shocking to see a Pope. This is not a Pope in costume. This is a Pope who's a White Sox fan being trolled by a Cubs fan in Vatican City.
So sad. Dan, how could he do this to me? People keep saying, oh man, Chicago Pope, you must feel so happy, so represented. No, he's a White Sox fan. He's laughing at me right now. The Pope is laughing at me, Dan, and I deserve it. I deserve it for being a Cubs fan. And this is what I've said my whole life. God doesn't love the Cubs. It's obvious. 2016 was a fluke, and it sent the whole universe into some sort of dark black hole tailspin that we still haven't fought our way out of. God does not love the Chicago Cubs, Dan, and neither does the Pope.
Put it on the poll, please. Was the Pope trash talking? Because that's as close as a Pope's ever going to come to trash talking, is it not?
I love that he responded in Spanish first, too, and then translated it into English. That was solid Pope work by him.
I have a number of different college football controversies to get to. So which do you want? Handshake gate, tortilla gate, or Trent Dilfer being fired by UAB? Which one would you like first?
Well, I'm shocked you guys haven't covered the Trent Dilfer news because it was the big college football head coaching news of the weekend. He was let go by UAB. But no, let's talk about the tortillas first, Dan, because this is one of those silly college football things that it started off a little silly, then it got real, and then it got real. Now there's fines involved, and now Kansas's head coach kind of looks like a liar.
A liar?
The lie detector test determined that was a lie.
I'll start from the top. I don't know where that came from, but first of all, okay. So, Dan, you know of the Texas Tech tortilla throwing tradition?
I do. It was up for Hampton Farms Nuttiest Fan of the Week a couple of weeks ago.
Love those peanuts. Anyway, so this past weekend, huge game between Texas Tech and Kansas, and the fans were throwing tortillas, of course. And over the summer, the Big 12 said if you throw tortillas, you'll get a warning, and then eventually you'll get 15-yard penalties because you can't throw stuff on the field, which, makes a lot of sense. Even though tortilla is very soft, they don't hurt. They're not hurting anyone, but it is a pain in the ass to clean up, and you shouldn't throw stuff on the field regardless. Anyway, so the Texas Tech fans were throwing the tortillas. Texas Tech was getting fined. And Lance Leopold, the Kansas head coach, was not happy after the game, and there was a very awkward handshake between him and Joey McGuire, the Texas Tech head coach. And you can hear the audio on it. I'm not sure if we have the video, Dan. If we do, we'll play it. But you can hear the audio. Hear some expletives were said during this very tense handshake.
Yeah, I know. That's Coach, I can't do anything about it. You want me to do something about it? I just heard. I know. And I said I got it.
What's he supposed to do about it?
That's what he said.
Well, so after this game, so Texas Tech won big, but I will add one of the penalties was when the game was still pretty close. So both coaches were, I think, exasperated by the fact that the tortillas kept coming even after the first 15-yard penalty. Afterwards, Leopold said that someone threw a pocket knife at one of his players on the field. So not only were the fans throwing tortillas, someone threw a pocket knife. He said this in his post-game press conference, and then Joey McGuire did his post-game press conference and said that he needs the fans to chill out a little bit, which is really all he can do, right? Is tell the fans please stop. You're hurting our football team. We're actually really good this year. You're going to blow this for us. So subsequently, Dan, the Texas Tech apparently submitted footage to the Big 12 Conference showing that they think a Kansas staffer dropped the pocket knife on the sideline. I have watched the video several times. I can't tell what the hell's going on in this video, but apparently it shows this Kansas staffer dropping a pocket knife on the Kansas sideline. So I don't know.
To plant that there was
planting evidence.
Allegedly, I mean, I don't know the intent. I don't know the intent. Both teams did get fined. So Texas Tech was fined for the tortilla throwing $25,000, and Kansas was fined for Lance Leopold's comments about the Big 12, which he said like the officials didn't handle it well, and the league hasn't handled the tortilla thing well. So they got fined, and now there's this further speculation on what the hell happened with this pocket knife that, as of the recording of this, Dan, I don't know. I don't know where the pocket knife came from.
Well, but if you say thrown pocket knife, I think most of us assume after our knife throwing adventures a week ago that most people are assuming that the pocket knife is being thrown with the blade out. You're suggesting that it's just a pocket knife that's falling out of somebody's pocket that might not even have the blade out.
Well, so when Leopold said this in the post-game press conference, it was implied that it was like aggressively thrown onto the field by fans and like hit a player. And now it seems like it was potentially just fell out of someone's pocket or dropped out of someone's pocket. So I've watched the video, and the videos are like, you can clearly see here that this guy did this, and I can't see, Dan. So you want to watch the video and tell me, but it's very bad luck for Kansas, because this is why you wait until your Monday press conference to be really like emotional and call people out, because then maybe you take a step and then you're like, okay, I probably should not say what I was going to say Saturday night.
When you talk about bad looks, how do we feel about the blue-collar jacket look in Michigan here? How do we feel about going to the press conference with a jacket that has your name over your heart and you're giving off a whole lot of blue-collar?
Collar jacket on today. We got to go back to work right now. There's no pouting. There's no worrying about it. There's no making excuses for it. That's all we got to do, and that's all I know, and that's what we're going to do right now.
Now, Jess, this has led to spectacular photoshopping from college football social media and corresponding captions. This is a bit ridiculous.
Can I say something controversial?
Yes, of course.
I like the jacket. I think it's kind of cute. So, I mean, everyone wants to clown Sharon more. It's a cute jacket. I like it. And I get what he's going for. Go back to work. You lost to USC on the road. But, I mean, maybe he's just flexing on everyone because he's like, look, I got a jacket with my name on. I would wear that. If it said Jessica on it, I would wear that.
But this is where artificial intelligence can be used for good, because you get all sorts of photoshops, like him wearing a chef's outfit with the caption, "That's why I'm wearing a chef white," to remind the team and fans just to keep calm and let me cook. Or one as him as an astronaut, which is accompanied by, as a program, we have to take small steps before we can make giant leaps.
Nice. Dan, can I give you 3 guesses on who UAB's interim head coach is right now?
Sure. Watson Brown.
No. I'll give you a hint. His father was also an ESPN employee.
I saw it. It'll be fun if you get it.
Do we know if Billy's okay? Do we know there was a pocket knife thrown in the back room, and I don't think Billy's okay,
yeah,
and I don't want to kill him.
I also
before
feel
he
like
leaves.
I am like attending someone else's funeral right now, and it's kind of like a weird vibe. But we already recorded our last mystery crate, so it's not like I haven't addressed this with Billy already on air.
I thought Billy was your favorite among everyone here. I thought Billy and you had the greatest chemistry on and off air. You can say whatever you like here for those not listening to Mystery Crate about Billy's final couple of days.
I think people
Jess and I
should
had
listen to
good
Mystery
chemistry.
Crate. Yeah.
That was.
I thought that you thought that Jeremy was my favorite. Also.
Yeah, I also thought that you
But
thought
he's
that, and
not.
Definitely didn't think that myself.
Which isn't
of our
true.
friendship.
Just kidding. Okay, give me another guess. Father, former ESPN employee, son played college football, was an analyst at Alabama for a long time, was on the UAB staff.
I'm hardly listening to your hints, and I didn't want to play this game when we started.
Thank you.
And
It's a fun
so,
game.
and
It's a fun
so
game.
you can
Good
go ahead
guess,
and just
Billy
tell
loves
me.
the guessing game.
You're
Billy,
gonna-
you guess. You
Well,
love the guessing game.
I mean, it's Mort's son.
Mortensen.
Oh, Chris Mortensen's son is the UAB
He
head
works hard.
coach. Trent Dilfer was terrible. Like, how long did he last? A year and a half? 2 years? How long
was
did he
so
last?
bad.
He was awful, but at least he was a super nice guy the entire time.
Definitely not, yelling at kids at all.
I think we should just keep doing that. Keep giving jobs to people who haven't done anything to earn those jobs. Just put them right at the top. We should do that with Pujols, too. The Orioles and the Angels are fighting over Pujols. Just keep giving people jobs when they haven't done anything in the way of training for jobs. What is that, Mike? The AI thing is a complicated one because I see that Robin Williams' family, MLK's family, they're desperately asking everyone to stop putting their beloved family members in AI videos.
Yeah, and I'm doing my part by liking every MLK wrestling video.
The MLK is amazing.
You know, it makes sense he would be a great wrestler because
Oh
he's
my
such a great
God,
orator.
I love it.
Oh my God.
Big heel turn, unexpected, Dan, by MLK.
Yeah.
Big
He
heel
is the
turn.
dream.
Heel turn.
He
Big
is
heel
the
turn.
dream. I saw a Boiler Room set from George Washington the other day. That was cool. Yeah, we're in a dangerous place, and this is all going to be used for bad. But for the moment, let's enjoy some of the fun stuff.
Speaking of a dangerous place, Jessica, James Franklin just changed all the rules on how much time and how much winning coaches have to do, right?
Sorry, I was hardly listening to you. Trent Dilfer's record was 9-21, Dan, at UAB, and he also, like Mike said, made a lot of jerky comments, like when he had his grandson join him in a press conference and then was like, "What? It's not like it's Alabama." Which is something you probably shouldn't say if you coach at UAB. But yeah, the James Franklin thing is shocking. I was less shocked when I found out his buyout's not like a $50 million lump sum payment, which some of them are. So they're going to be able to pay it out over a few years. And like there's been a lot of conversation about this like duty to mitigate clause in his buyout, which means that if he gets another job, the money will offset. But that's pretty standard among college coaching contracts. Mike, I don't know if Mario's got one of those. You probably know more contract details than us lay people, but it's going to be interesting what the appetite is for hiring him at another coaching job too, because he's also someone that I think like a lot of fans of non-Penn State teams, maybe even including Penn State the last couple of weeks, like they've been clowning him for a long time for his reputation of not being able to win a big game. Now, I have seen a number of Wisconsin fans say, we don't even care who it is, just get Luke Fickell out of here. And this may in fact be Luke Fickell's last game coaching Wisconsin because they have had a terrible season. He has not been fired yet, and they play Ohio State on Saturday. I'm not sure what the spread is there, but I imagine it's like 5 touchdowns. So I'm curious to see if he does get another head coaching job or if he does broadcasting or what. But I think the buyout number, we'll just kind of have to wait and see what that ends up being.
I think it's interesting what you're saying there about fans around college football for years clowning him, and now this idea that maybe he'll take a media job. That's weird to me because I feel like people...
Jeremy's got some interesting facts about this. Like, his buyout is super strange.
Yeah, Front Office Sports reported that when he signed the extension with Penn State, that he not only has to look for another job, he has to seek out the highest possible payment for said job within his skill set so that
Martin
Penn State
also.
can get the difference. What I think, personally, we should hire him.
Yes. He's incentivized to take this.
Yeah, but yes, like the language says like diligently search for new employment in good faith, and it has to be market rate. So I guess, yeah, whatever you're paying Billy. So that'll offset the buyout by about, let's say, $200,000 over 10 years. I'm not sure. So
I saw a thing,
estimate.
and I'm wondering if you knew that James Franklin, like, not only if he gets another job, he has to find another job.
Yes.
And if he doesn't,
he has to.
Yeah, he has to look
Wait,
for
Billy, I
another
didn't hear
job.
that. Tell me more.
Well, it turns out it's not just he could take the money. He has to find a job.
The
and
highest
then they'll
paying
pay-
job.
And it has to be the most money possible from said job at that role.
You
Could
know,
be
Dan,
media or coaching, I believe.
That's very interesting, Billy. Sam Pittman, who was fired a couple weeks ago, had this duty to mitigate clause in his contract, and he was like, actually, I'll take less money if we strike that because I want to retire. And they were like, sure. So they renegotiated it. So now he does not have to look for new employment because
amazing.
he's like, I'm done.
That's amazing.
Respect.
It would be funny if Billy weren't here Monday, but in that chair, James Franklin was. My other idea was Udonis Haslam replacing Billy in terms of just visually
Same
funny.
vibe.
This is rough for Key and Michael Key. What's he going to do now?
True. Yeah, I mean, he's really the big loser in all of this if you think about it.
Can you tell me, Jessica, a team that you think not enough people are talking about as good? I've got two in Texas Tech and South Florida. I think both of those teams are actually playoff good, and not enough people are talking about the fact that I think they're playoff good. Do you have anyone in the landscape where you're like, man, I really like what that team is doing, but I don't think anyone is paying real attention to that team?
Oh, that's a great question. Yes, I have so many, but I feel like South Florida game, I don't know if you guys watched it last weekend. That was incredible. The North Texas South Florida.
They score very easily.
It was crazy. It ended up being like how many points did they score in the span of like 3 minutes?
Something. Yeah, well,
it was absurd. Let me think about that for a second. So, I don't think BYU is like awesome, but they are undefeated right now, which I think a lot of people would be surprised to find out. But this weekend, Holy War, BYU and Utah, and Utah is also ranked, even though they lost by a lot to Texas Tech. So I think that's going to be a fun game. Honestly, there's just so many Big 12 teams right now with like 1 or 2 losses that they just keep beating up on each other, which is like totally expected. But Cincinnati's quarterback's been really good. There's another Big 12 game this weekend, TCU and Baylor, where I don't think either team's like great. So this doesn't really answer your question. But right now the total's like 65.5, and both quarterbacks are like top 10 in like adjusted yards per dropback. I want to say they're just like slinging it a lot. So that could be like an old school Big 12 game this weekend. That would be fun. And then I think like if you're Dykes or Aranda, it's like, you might be in a little bit of a warmer seat situation after that one. But to answer your question, Dan, this is sort of like, I feel like October around like this time of year, once a lot of teams are done with their bye weeks, this is like moving weekend where like you get into like the meat of the conference schedules. Like Washington and Michigan could be a really good game. Like those are two teams, like Michigan's obviously got 2 losses, but they've only got 1 loss in conference right now. Washington has the loss to Ohio State, which was tough, but they hung in there for a few quarters. But that's a game where like we'll know a lot about whichever team loses that. And like we'll start stacking some of these like conference losses too, which tells you kind of where more teams are. But I don't know. There's just so many good games this weekend. I don't even know where to begin.
I like Maryland too, but Maryland coughed up that game against
September,
Washington.
Maryland.
And I do think that, Mike, you like Washington against Oregon, right?
Yeah, I like Washington. I'm looking at that Penn State Oregon result. And I know Cignetti just had his signature victory. I am not trying to take anything away from that. It's a difficult place to play. The record proves that. But I don't think Oregon is as good. And I look at a road trip to Iowa as a trouble spot for Oregon. Like I said, I locked in Oregon to not make the playoffs. And I think a team that's going to creep back in there because of the conference that they play in. And we saw 1 win in the SEC is a get-right in the eyes of many. Texas is going to creep back into this conversation, I think.
Are you willing to do this publicly, though?
Put the town on alert.
Yeah, I'll be on Iowa and I'll be on Washington when Oregon plays both those teams.
Iowa came very close to beating Indiana.
Iowa's another team that I kind of like.
We would not be talking about Cignetti. Like they were a play away from beating Indiana. We would not be talking about Iowa and Cignetti this way if they had lost to Iowa.
I'll do you one more. We wouldn't be talking about it if that game wasn't on Peacock, because I feel like not a lot of people watched it because it was on Peacock and you can't put it in your quad box.
I'm wandering around listening to it on satellite radio because that's my new thing on Saturdays, just listening to local Iowa broadcasts talk about disposable furniture.
Not to put your business out there, but you also listen to a lot of Pitbull globalization. I got a picture like once a week from you listening to Pitbull on Sirius as you're driving around, which is awesome.
Thank you, Jessica. Good talking to you. We'll talk to you next week, and I'll do a better job if you want to ask me any questions. Quiz me on UAB football again. I'll do a better job of listening next time.
We can talk about the Skims fake bush thongs next week, too.
Check her out.
I saw that.
Those are crazy.
What's with those vagina hairs?
Check her out on
Hey, Maxwell.
That's Maxwell Frost at Zoom.
Mystery Crate.
Oh, my God.
You're really bringing in Congressman Maxwell Frost?
No,
that
I'm
way?
not.
talking some
No,
pubes,
no.
Max.
All
He just happened to pop in the Zoom right when Mike said
P's and
that.
Q's and
Thank you, Jessica. We'll gather ourselves here and welcome in the congressman more appropriately than with pubic talk in a second.
No, I'm glad he stayed there.
Politics, pubic talk might not be that much different, you know?
Yeah.
We like to talk to Congressman Maxwell Frost. We're getting, as you can tell, a little more and more comfortable with him in ways that are inappropriate. He is from Florida's 10th District. He represents the people of his hometown in Orlando and Central Florida, and he's been giving us fairly honest and factual information at a time it's hard to get honest and factual information. So thank you for joining us again, Congressman. What can you tell us about the government shutdown that is most problematic, and where is all of this headed?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me on, man. And yeah, so essentially, people who don't know, the federal government is currently shut down. What does that mean? It means Congress has not done its damn job to make sure that there's funding allocated for the government. And when that doesn't happen, the government essentially shuts down. A lot of people get furloughed, which means people are told, don't come to work, you're not going to get paid. There's a lot of people who are told you have to come to work or else you're going to get fired. And by the way, you're also not going to get paid. But when the government opens, you'll receive your paycheck then. So that's a lot of our TSA workers, people working at the Social Security Administration, my staff, a lot of just different people who work in the federal government. And the whole reason we're in this situation is, number one, we've been talking about this for months. We know the date is coming up. Like, it's not like this comes out of nowhere. People in Congress know that in X amount of months, the government will shut down. But what always happens is they wait till the last minute to do anything about it. And that's what Speaker Mike Johnson did. Waited till the last minute. We got a bill, maybe literally just like a day or two in advance, that kept out something very important. For people who don't know, at the end of this year, the Affordable Care Act tax subsidies are going to expire. What does that mean? It means that, especially in Florida and across the country, people's health care is going to go up anywhere from 50 to 300%. So it is our job to handle that in this funding bill. They don't want to do that. And so they rather let the government shut down than actually handle healthcare. Why would anyone want people to pay more for healthcare? They're trying to make more room in the federal budget to give a tax break to billionaires and mega corporations. I mean, it's like the same tired story of the rich getting richer and the poor getting poor. And that's exactly what's going on right now.
What are the details that you find most problematic about how this affects people who can't actually afford it financially?
It's the fact that Donald Trump said in this meeting, well, let's handle it at the end of the year. Here's the problem. Open enrollment for healthcare on the Affordable Care Act, which the biggest marketplace is Florida, right? The most people in the country on the Affordable Care Act are in Florida. I have 200,000 people in my district alone in Central Florida that if we don't do anything, we'll get a letter. And many of them have already gotten a letter that says, hey, next year, your healthcare is going to go up anywhere from 50 to 300%. The average we're seeing is about double. And we got to think about that. Maybe for a billionaire, that's not a big deal. But for a working class person, you get that letter, you're going to start making decisions now based on what you have to pay to keep your family healthy next year. That means we've gotten reports from people locally. We did a survey and asked people, tell us what decisions you're making now. Here's some of the decisions. We're going to have to cut our grocery bill in half. We're thinking about moving out of our current rental unit because we're paying too much for rent. We need to put aside some of that money for healthcare next year. Other ones, which is like, I haven't seen my parents in years and years and years, and I'm canceling the trip because I can't afford it because I'm going to pay double for my healthcare next year. So like, this is real. This isn't some abstract BS that politicians are using for talking points. Like, this is going to impact real people. And the disturbing part about it is we can do something about it right now. Like, Congress is the only job in the world where you can say, you know what, I'm going to clock in at the end of the year. Like, Mike Johnson literally came out and said, the House of Representatives is not going back into session until the government opens. But we're the ones that have to open the government. I mean, like, it makes no sense to me. And this is part of the reason I understand why most of the country hates Congress, is because of this kind of thing going on. And it's really simple. The speaker needs to call us back to session. We need to actually fix the healthcare problem, pass the funding bill, open up the government, and move on. But Dan, there's also one other part of this that some people don't know about. And it's that in Arizona, there was a Democrat elected in a special election. She was elected like 23 days ago. When Mike Johnson brings back the House, he has to swear her in to be an actual representative. He has a problem with that because she said that the first thing she's going to do is be the last signature on the petition to release the Epstein files. And unfortunately, that's a big part of this, is that he doesn't want that petition to have the last signature on it.
How big a part of the Epstein files is everything that's happening with Trump's behavior beyond just trying to distract us with other nonsense that includes just bombing random boats.
I think it has a lot to do with it. And here's the thing. Number one, we know from reports that Trump is in the Epstein files. To what degree, what did he do, this and that? We don't know, but we want to see. And that's what the reason we want to have it. But I promise you that a lot of his friends are implicated too in this as well. And that's why he's telling his own supporters, who a lot of people who supported Trump said, I'm doing this in part because he said one of the top things he's going to focus on is the Epstein case, which for people who don't know, I'm on the Epstein investigation right now. Before this year, it's not something I knew a ton about. Now I've spent hours and hours with survivors, with lawyers. I was in the Alex Acosta deposition, and I can tell you this is something that does need to be uncovered, of course, for the victims and survivors, but also this is like a cover-up of epic proportions that implicates Republicans. And yes, it implicates Democrats too. And for people who tell me, Maxwell, there might be Democrats implicated, I don't give a if you're implicated in it, you need to be held accountable. I don't care who you are. And we're in this issue now where Trump, on one hand, is gaslighting his own supporters, saying the Epstein thing is nothing. It's a Democrat hoax. It's not a hoax. This is real. And this happened, being from Florida, a lot of this happened in our state with a lot of our government officials either looking the other way or empowering this pedophile, rapist, human trafficker. And so we need justice on this. And it's the same story of rich elite people playing by a different set of rules. And again, I don't care if you have an R or D next to your name, you need to be held accountable.
So Donald Trump was positioned effectively as a populist candidate, but the policy is not good for most Americans, which is why, them knowing this, you have the Voting Rights Act presently being heard by the Supreme Court. There will be an attempt to gerrymander and rig things that way. You have Dominion voting being purchased by a Republican ally. What are the countermeasures to this? Because they have a fair amount of power, and they don't really seem to have a lot of respect for court orders or court rulings. They'll just keep appealing and find an ally there. What can the Dems do without the House, without the Senate, without the presidential power, without even the Supreme Court? What can they do to counter this?
I've spent, before I was elected in Congress, I was an activist and organizer fighting in the grassroots. So I'm used to not having all the power I want. And so when you don't have all the power you want, you use all the power that you got. And the fact of the matter is there's a few things here. Number one, the court rulings are still important because we've still gotten a lot of wins. A lot of people don't realize this, but throughout history, fascists and authoritarians, part of the way they exert power is by making people believe that they have power that they actually don't have. And it's about blatantly lying about things. 45% of all of Trump's executive orders or actions have been stopped, reversed, or paused by courts. And they've actually been stopped, reversed, or paused. Now, there's still another 55% to worry about. I'm not saying that's the end all be all, but it is something that we should be doing. And what we do need is courage from our politicians to put themselves on the line for the greater good. And I'm going to give you an example. Alligator Alcatraz. We spoke about this last time I was on. Not just myself, but myself and other elected officials said, you know what? We have privilege as electeds. Let's demand that we be let into this facility, but not just to go in for like a photo op and to talk about it on the news. Let's go and talk with the plaintiffs that are suing them and figure out, what do you need to know about this facility? So we did that. I walked in with a binder this big. I've been inside that facility twice and was able to fill that binder with very specific answers to questions they had, which informed the lawsuit. And it's going to go back and forth. Unfortunately, there's starting to be more people in Alligator Alcatraz, but it was shut down for a while. And the judge in her decision actually quoted my declaration after I left the place, saying, this is what Congressman Maxwell Frost found in his findings in there. I bring this up to say that oversight and seeing ourselves as people who can put ourselves in situations that other citizens can't go in, I think is really important. The other thing is people power. Power on the streets. There's a No Kings protest this on the 18th. A lot of people come up to me and say, Maxwell, what's the purpose of a protest? The purpose of a protest is it is oftentimes the entry point for people to get involved in political advocacy. We know that one protest in and of itself doesn't solve all the problems, but what it does do is it shows an authoritarian that you don't have the people on your side. And it gives the organizers on the ground an opportunity to see a bunch of people they've never seen before and get them involved in the day-to-day things that are going on. People ask me all the time, Maxwell, what can I do? And I always tell them, get involved in a local group that will answer that question for you every day. Because I can give you some abstract things that are really important and some tactics, but there's people in your community right now who are doing this work who, quite frankly, have been asking for your help for a long time. The good thing is it's not too late. Get involved, and protest allows us to do that as well.
Beyond the healthcare crisis and what you were telling us earlier, what do you see as the greatest life and death dangers involved with the government shutdown?
Honestly, I'm thinking a lot about our federal workers. And I did a roundtable last week with a bunch of them from the TSA, from Social Security Administration. People got to realize that starting a few days ago, they're not receiving any pay. So if this government shutdown goes for another 3 months, that means that these people will not get a paycheck for 3 months, but they're still expected to go to work. And who are these people? They're the people making sure that we're safe when we fly on a plane, that there aren't weapons, or even worse, getting put on a plane when we're on there. These are the people sending Social Security checks to our seniors and to people in our community that are not getting paid anymore. And I didn't realize this until I sat in the meeting, that in this meeting, 90% of the people there, both of the spouses, both, the mother and the father, were both federal workers. So that means you got zero money coming in. And these are civil servants who Donald Trump and Elon Musk have been alienating, have been literally in Project 2025. It says that their goal is to traumatize federal workers. These are civil servants. These are working class people who are not getting rich off of working for the government. They're there because they believe in a mission, and they're not getting paid right now. And their voices in the mix of all this political BS, their voices are going to be buried, but I'm committed to making sure people understand what's going on. So if you can, you're going to see a lot more food drives. You're going to see a lot more support groups locally rise up to help get them gas cards and feed people and stuff like that. I'm going to be organizing that in Orlando as well. Get involved if you're listening to this, because we got to support them.
The ICE raids are horrific. Yesterday, Los Angeles County declared a state of emergency over immigration raids. Can you tell me, please, where we are with something that feels less American than most of the things that I've experienced in my life in America?
It's a lot of things. And one thing I want to bring up about the military occupying our cities, being unleashed on U.S. citizens, on Americans, masked ICE agents going and kidnap. And I try to be very blunt about this, not to exaggerate, but this isn't even mass deportation. Deportation is a legal process you go through. They're not even following that. They're kidnapping people in our communities and literally human trafficking them to other places. But the thing is that I always encourage people, follow the money. A lot of these issues at the end of the day have to do with enriching a few people, a few friends of the president. And actually, this is no different, because what's going on is the big ugly bill was passed a few months ago, and that gives ICE the most amount of money they've ever had. They have more money than the United States Marines. Where do you think that money is going to? Because I actually go to my local jail every month and I do a roundtable with people being held by ICE. And when you talk to them about who's transporting you, who are the people you talk with, a lot of times it's not even ICE. It's a third-party company that's being paid millions of taxpayer dollars to do this kidnapping operation. And what they're doing is greatly expanding the prison industrial complex, where we have all these private prisons that are making hella money, tons of money, millions of taxpayer dollars on locking up people who, most of whom have never broken the law before, and are law-abiding immigrants or people are undocumented. And so that's something that we're investigating on the oversight committee, and people have to pay attention to it. This agency is not rogue. What do I mean by that? ICE was created to go into communities to find people. So if you disagree with that, then you disagree with ICE.
I have no time left, so let's keep this lighter and quick.
All right.
We need to get one bet from the congressman. Billy, bet the house. Give it to me as short as you can, please. Bet the house.
It's time to bet the House of Representatives. Bet, 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 bet.
This week's guest is a cadet major in the Civil Air Patrol. At 25, he became the youngest member of Congress and first Gen Zer to serve. He represents Florida's 10th district in the U.S. House of Representatives. It's Maxwell You've got a showdown in the Mountain West with Wyoming Cowboys gallop to Colorado Springs to take on the Air Force Falcons. Representative Frost, who you got?
Thank you for keeping it short, Billy.
Air Force. Air Force, Air Force, Air Force. Air Force! Go Air Force.
All right. Thank you, Congressman. I appreciate the time. We appreciate the time, and we appreciate the work.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Billy, for keeping that short the way that I knew that you would.
Hey, folks, it's Mike Ryan, and it's also football season. That's right. Things just kicked off. I celebrated a big dub with my friends and my trusty Miller Lite right there beside me because Miller Time is the secret ingredient to football time. Miller Time makes everything a good time. I love Miller Lite. You know why? Because Miller Lite is brewed for flavor with simple ingredients, rich toffee notes, and that iconic golden color. And here's a kicker, folks. In its 50th year of existing, it's just 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces. The original light beer since 1975 and still hidden 5 decades later. Whether you're at the game or at your home on your couch with your friends, put out a nice little cold cooler of Miller Lite and make sure the drinks keep coming because it is football time and you want that beer that hits different. Miller Lite, great taste, 96 calories. Go to MillerLite.com/stand to find delivery options near you, or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. It's Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.
We've got Pitch Clock coming up here. We've also got some Juju Gotti coming up here, but we've got to do Thursday Thunder here, and we've got to do it quickly, and we've got to win this week. It's time to start winning people some money. Let's win people some money. Juju is, I still don't think that in all the time that Juju has been doing this, maybe I'm wrong, if he has ever gotten 0 right, I don't think. 1 right is very rare. But 2 right out of 3, that's his wheelhouse. So just selectively, if you don't want to bet them together, bet them individually. But together is the big payout. Give us the Thursday Thunder this week, Juju.
Yes, sir. Since I'm so successful at those 2 out of 3s, this week I'm going with a 4-piece, baby. First of all, I'm going with T. Higgins for over 5 reception yards in the first quarter. First quarter, T. Higgins, lock it in. Secondly, I'm sticking with T. Higgins, and I'm going with him for over 3 catches tonight. Scooby Snacks. Joe Flacco in the building. Unc, I see you. Next leg, I'm going with my brother, Noah Fant. You know, Mike Gesicki, he's out. He's on the IR. And that tight end, Drew Sample, isn't the same as tossing the pill to Noah Fant. Over 3.5 catches tonight for my brother. And lastly, but not leastly, Jamar Chase for over 6 catches from Joe Flacco tonight. Lock it in.
Excellent job, Juju. Juju, I got to ask you, have you seen Paul Pierce's recent comments on Club Shay Shay? Have you seen what he said about LeBron?
Yes, sir. And I wanted to understand or know what you guys feel about it. Mike for sure, but you as well, Zaz.
What do you say?
This was
hey, that's my
Paul
gimmick.
Pierce's quote.
Yeah, so I mean, just to shorten it for everyone listening who doesn't know, he went on Club Shay Shay and he said that if he were younger, all of those years that LeBron was sunning him with the Miami Heat, if he were younger, LeBron would have no rings.
It made no sense.
0.
It made no sense because he had a lot of his career without LeBron to even worry about, and he didn't do much winning there.
I mean, we could play this game forever. Like, I could then just come back and say, yeah, if Kevin McHale and Danny Ainge weren't good friends and corroborated to send Kevin Garnett to the Celtics, like, you wouldn't want shit. Like, we could do this forever.
I kind of love Paul Pierce, I think. Like, post-retirement Paul Pierce. Like, he just seems kind of crazy and like a good time.
Yeah, I believe it. Also, yeah, if Pat McAfee didn't think of having Aaron Rodgers and stuff on, I would have did that. So I feel Paul Pierce.
It's ridiculous. I guess it had been a little while since Paul Pierce said something that only he believes. So, that's...
No, he fell asleep last week, if you remember correctly.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Just in the middle of... Yeah. Yeah, I love that one. Just in the middle of traffic. Hey, you know what it's like to be stuck in traffic for 45 minutes? And no, Paul, tell me. That's never happened to anybody.
Yeah, I agree with you also, too, not to change the subject too quick, but when you said Tua is potentially becoming unlikable, and you pointed back to the show me the money. Oh, my, I forgot all about that, bro. That was the most embarrassing thing he's ever done. So I agree with his ass.
Cringe AF, right, Juju? Cringe AF.
Cringe AF.
Not as much as you saying cringe AF.
Come on.
6, 7.
There we go. Now you're back.
Juju, you got some polls for us to update? What do we got here?
Yes, sir. Also, too, Billy, I love you. Before we get to the polls, Billy, I love you so much, bro. Like, people don't understand you a great guy. Like, you hilarious on the show and you be playing your role. But, dog, when I first got to this company, I was, I'm fresh out the streets. So I don't understand a lot of what's going on. You feel me? And he helped me understand a lot of what was going on. Took the time, talked to me for hours on the phone. Like, bro, we grown folks and people don't use the phone no more. My boy Billy took a time out of his life, 2 kids, to talk to me. You feel me? So I always appreciate you. I always appreciate the time we spent together. And I love you, brother.
Thank you, Juju. Love you.
Yes, sir. Do you like it when there are 2 Monday night football games?
I'm in on this.
67% of the audience says, no, they do not.
People are just looking for things to complain about.
I don't understand. You're telling me
here in America in general.
You're telling me a Monday night football game will end, and it'll end at 10 p.m. Eastern time, also known as Lord's time zone. The game will end on Monday, and you'll be like, damn, I wish there wasn't another game on right now.
I like it when it's staggered by an hour. I don't love the 7-10 thing.
I like that better.
The 7 and 8:15. That's where it's at.
I like that better. Yep.
I kind of like the 7-10. It's like, give me something to stay up for. It's like basketball season. I'm used to staying up so late because LeBron and them, they don't come on to 10,000 Eastern time. So I'm used to staying up late. I kind of like it. Neither here nor there. Who is cooler? A person who scores baseball games or a person who has sex?
Oh, big. This is big.
63% of the audience says a person who has sex.
What they don't know is that if you do the first, you do the second more than if you don't do the first.
Hello. Is Max Scherzer as crazy as his eyes look? 90% of the audience says yes, he is. And the last poll, was the Pope talking trash? 96% of the audience says yes, he was. And those are your polls.
That Pope was spitting. Thanks, Juju.
Thank y'all.